Hey everybody, how is it going? Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to go over the overall market really quick just to see where we are at, and then I want to get into another sector that I think is really starting to pick up some steam. And actually, with everything that's been going on over the last several weeks, I'm surprised this sector isn't stronger than what it is, but that means it could be the next sector to really take off. And then after that, I'm going to get into my daily trading activities. So if you want to see if I made any money or lost any money today, make sure you stick around for that. But first, we're going to get into the QQQ, which of course is the NASDAQ ETF, just to see where we are at. Now, when the trading day opened up, I thought for sure we were going to be taking out this low that we made on the 24th, but the NASDAQ is holding serve for the most part. When the NASDAQ had reversed all the way up here, I was thinking that this was going to be a very nice reversal, but it is selling off as the day is going on. There's still about an hour or so left in the trading day. So if the NASDAQ ends near the lows, I think that's going to be very bearish, and I think it's only a matter of time before we take out this low. But if the market can rally and end near the highs of the day, I think that increases the possibility that this could end up being the low. Now, I know with all this market action, it's kind of like it seems like we're just jumping from one foot to the other one because there's so much conflicting data that seems on a day-to-day basis. And even the people that I follow on TV, it just seems like they are kind of all over the place as well. And usually most of them are leaning one way or the other, and it seems like it's kind of split 50-50 right now. But the Qs have held serve for today, so it's going to be interesting to see what tomorrow brings, and also where these things end up by the close of today. But let's take a look at the spider. Probably going to be the same thing, holding serve right at that support level, and it's right smack dab in the middle, just right in the middle of the day's trading range. So not a whole heck of a lot, just a ton of tug of war going on. Taking a look at the diamonds, you can see the Dow could not get above that 8-period exponential moving average, so that is not a good sign, but it is holding above that low from the 24th. And if we take a look at the IWM, we can see the IWM is the strongest, and we actually are making a pretty decent higher low, above that low from the 24th. So if the IWM can have a strong day and get up here right around a 201, 202, I think it's actually a pretty healthy looking chart pattern. But let's take a look at the USO before we jump into some other stuff. You can see that the oil ETF, the USO, is really starting to get long in the tooth. So I would expect a snapback to come in the next day or two, maybe 3 or 4 at the absolute most. Depends on what the heck goes on with the rest of the world. But this thing, these kind of straight up moves, they just don't last very long, and we got to be getting pretty close to at least a short-term top in the USO. All right, well, that sector that I think could be the next one to get hot is the EV and the EV related type stocks. And this just makes all the sense in the world with the prices of fossil fuels just going through the roof lately. That just makes EVs more cost effective than they were just a few weeks ago. But the first one that I want to talk about is Blink Charging, ticker symbol BLNK. This is what I like to look for in a stock that is bottoming. I like to see the stock starting to creep higher, and I like to count at least 3 noticeable lows, and that just tells me that supply is starting to dry up. And if we look at BLNK, we can see we have a very noticeable ceiling right here. So a break above that level is what I would like to see for this stock to potentially get into, that acceleration phase. Now, if the market crashes, all bets are off, because the market tends to drag down, about 80% of the stocks when it rolls over. So if the market does end up doing that, I am definitely going to hold off on any new long positions. But if the market can hold up, I think this sector could be one to get hot. And what I was saying before about this trend, I don't want this trend to be too sharp to the upside, and I want 3 noticeable bottoms. If it's too sharp to the upside, they tend to not work as well. Like here's one right over here. Actually, you can see that it was just kind of creeping along, and then it kind of got into that acceleration phase. But this one over here, had a little bit too sharp of an angle to the upside. They just don't tend to work as much usually. This is rule of thumb stuff. You know, of course, there's going to be some charts where it does work out a little bit better, you know, one way and vice versa. But I do think that BLNK looks really good right here. You know, another one is ChargePoint. Take a look at ChargePoint. We can see kind of the same thing. We got 3 noticeable bottoms, and actually this one is already starting to break out above the 50-period simple moving average. So even though the market is, you know, kind of selling off towards the end of the day, these stocks are actually continuing to be strong. So CHPT looks really good. Another one I kind of like is SLDP. Solid power, we can see same exact thing, nice creeping trend to the upside. We have a little bit more of a noticeable ceiling right here. Let's see if I can make it a little bit easier. Right around, I would say 8.25 or so is what I would like to see a break above, and you can see it's already knocking on the door. You know, we got slightly above average volume coming into SLDP, and you know, another chart that kind of looks at like what I am trying to capture here is AMTXs. They are in the oil sector. But you can see these 3 noticeable bottoms, and then you get a break above the moving averages, and then it starts to accelerate to the upside. So this is what I'm hoping to catch in some of those EV stocks. Now, another one that I really like is ZEV. Some of these stocks have just been beaten down pretty hard. A lot of people are not looking to buy any of these stocks, and that actually makes me like them a little bit more in the short term. But you can see ZEV kind of doing the same exact thing. We got a very well-defined ceiling right here. So I don't want to be long unless it breaks above this ceiling, and this ceiling is like right around 575 to 6-ish. So a lot of momentum building up in ZEV. Another one is HYZN. See HYZN looking the same. We have some noticeable bottoms, and it's starting to creep higher. And then we have a very well-defined ceiling right here. And this one is also knocking on the door of that ceiling. I don't know, call that about 615 or so. So I don't want to be long HYZN unless we got a nice break of 615. I'm going to go through these next ones pretty quick. You get the point of the chart pattern. But another one I like is SOL. And this is a solar company, and actually this one is exploding as I am making this video. So this one has already left the station. I am not chasing SOL. So let's jump to the next one. Next one is AYRO. And Robert from the Patreon has already taken a position in this one. He noticed this pattern, and it looks like if it can hold above that 50-period simple moving average, AYRO could be one that could be taking off as well. Got a lot of nice volume coming in to this one. This one isn't as clean as some of the other ones, but it is in that sector. So, you know, this one certainly could be also one that could take off as well. And the pattern doesn't have to be super clean as long as there's a bunch of other ones in that sector that look clean. You know, if it's close enough, I'm not going to negate a stock just because it isn't picture perfect, especially like I was saying, if there's a bunch of other stocks in that sector that are looking really good. But let's get to the next one, and an old favorite, Workhorse. I don't think anybody talks about this one anymore. This one is looking similar to AYRO, but definitely carving out a bottom, jumping above those moving averages. So the ceiling on Workhorse is right around 405-ish. If we get a break above that, I think Workhorse is worth going long for me. Another one is FFIE. See FFIE also making a nice slow creeping trend, and I got a well-defined ceiling right here, right around $6, maybe call it $5.90-ish. I think it's worth going long for me if we get a nice break above that. Definitely had some good volume coming in yesterday, so the volume is on our side. And our old buddy Nikola. Nikola is not looking the best. That's why I saved it for last, but it is trying to hold these bottoms, and if it can get above this ceiling right here and get above that 50-period simple moving average right around 850, I think Nikola has a pretty decent chance of starting an uptrend as well. Now, some of the other stocks that I do own that I am still holding is CTRM. So if you want an update on this one, I actually had an order to take some off the table if it made it to the 200, but it didn't even come close. It's pulling back, but it is above that 8-period exponential moving average, at least for the time being. So I am going to stick in this one and see if this trend can continue higher. Another stock that I was in yesterday was SHIP. You can see SHIP is pulling back as well, but it is actually more of a consolidation type day. So I think SHIP, today's price action is actually kind of bullish. So I'm sitting tight with SHIP. And another stock that looks good in this sector is NM. See, NM is putting pressure on this resistance area that I have right here, right around 411 is where I would like to see the break on NM. And if that happens, I think NM could be pushing to the upside as well. All right, so let's get into my trading activity for the day. But before I get into that, I just want to let you know I do have a Patreon group. It is only $9.99 a month. I'm in the Discord every single day, and I also try to put out a pre-market watch list video before every trading day on the Patreon page. So you'll know what I am watching, and also if I see anything else significant in the market. But if you don't want to be a part of our small trading group, not a big deal. Simply liking the video would be greatly appreciated. Oh, and also, I'm not a financial advisor. All of this is for entertainment purposes only. Please make all of your own investing and trading decisions. But first one I want to start off with is HYMC. This was my only completely round trip trade that I made today. This is part of my gap and go strategy that I like to implement in the first half hour of the day. And this one ended up being a pretty decent winner. Let's go to the 5-minute chart. I'll show you how this one is shaped up. HYMC had a pretty decent gap up, but then it kind of sold off right away, carved out a nice little bottom and started to round up. So I saw this ceiling right at about 95 cents. And let me draw it out here so we can see it a little bit better. Put in my order. If it broke just above that, which it did, executed my order at 96 cents, and I sold it at $1.09. I think it made it up to around $1.11, so that was pretty close to the top. Normally I try to capture 6, 7, 8%, but this was a lower price stock, so I made it just a little bit higher. Ended up capturing 12% on this one, so that was a decent trade. And let's get into the next one. Let me go back to the daily chart. Next one was actually CHNR. This one I was kind of hoping that this was just going to be a screamer. This sector was looking like it was really starting to pick up some steam. We can see CHNR was starting to have a nice little creeping uptrend. Plus, the material sector has been red hot, so I wanted to buy it and see if we could have one of those screaming type trades. Ended up buying in at $1.06 early in the morning, and I took 20% of the position off right at $1.34 once it got to this resistance area, but I thought for sure it was going to push through that. In hindsight, I wish I would have taken it all off at $1.34, so I'm still sitting on a majority of the position. It just ended up being kind of a disappointment. It just kind of fizzled out. So I'm going to put my stop just underneath $1 on the rest of it and just move on if it stops me out. Hopefully we can catch some more upside tomorrow, but the way this thing kind of sold off, it was not looking good. Now, one stock that I did try to trade today was 9. I tried to buy some puts when it was right around $7-ish, maybe just a little bit higher. But they were playing a bunch of games with the options on this one, so this wasted a ton of my time, which is probably why I didn't get in a little bit more trading. But hey, it is what it is. I figured that this thing was probably going to start rolling over today, but hey, if they're not cooperating with the options, then I don't want to. It is what it is. I'm not going to be a part of it. I'm certainly not going to go short anything, not with what's been happening. Not only with these stocks, but with the whole Wall Street Bets crowd, because I do not want to go short something and then wake up tomorrow and this thing is trading at $25. So I would just buy some put options and keep my losses limited, just to that option contract and go there. But that was my trading activity for the day. If you guys have any questions on any of these, please leave it down there for me in the comment section, or if you see any other interesting stocks that are setting up, I would appreciate knowing about that as well. You certainly please leave that down there in the comment section. But I'm going to end the video right here. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. And until next time, take care, everybody.